Now, the timeline is a very useful and excellent tool for giving a sort of brief summary or synopsis or overview to your program. And it's often what a senior boss or a, maybe sponsor, or perhaps the client, or even maybe your team, it's very helpful when you're doing a presentation, you're doing a high-level presentation of how the project's going or what the project plan looks like, and it just shows the sort of high-level items on the project. So how do you enable the timeline? Well, you're going to go to the View menu, okay, and in the Split View group, you've got details, which is what we used just now, and I leave that one alone. You can't do both at the same time, and you'll see the word timeline just above it, and click on that or select it, put a little check mark in the timeline block. And immediately you'll see that a timeline has appeared at the top of your program. Now, when you just put the timeline on, the only things that are in it are the start date of the project, the finish date of the project, and just sort of month markers, and there's nothing else. So now we want to add some things to this timeline, but the danger is we don't want to add too much onto the timeline, because then it can actually get a bit cluttered. And so what we generally do is we put in level 1 WBS headings, so very high level items, and those dates will come in automatically as we put those WBSs on. And then we also put on milestones normally. Milestones are useful to have in a timeline because it is part of the timeline. It's showing us there are markers in our project as to where we are or where we should be by certain times. Okay, so to add items onto our timeline, we have to click on the timeline. So if you take your mouse and you hover it anywhere on this timeline, anywhere on it, and just click on it, okay, select it. The minute you do that, you'll see up at the top the word, there was, in fact, let me just click somewhere else so that I can, at the moment up here we see the word Gantt chart tools. When we click on the timeline, we see that that word changes to timeline tools. And then all of the options, the menu options, are now specifically geared towards timeline functions. All right, so we should be on the format menu under the word timeline tasks. If anybody's struggling to get that, you click anywhere on the timeline to enable the timeline tools. Now, it's perhaps a bit of a strange name for it, but the word existing tools, it's that function over there, existing tools, is how you can add items of your project onto the timeline. So if you click on existing tasks, can you see you get a little form which has as its heading, add tasks to timeline. And here you can just go and check mark the ones that you want on, and only those will go on. And as I said, we normally put in level 1 items. So engineering and design is a level 1. Procurement phase is also 1. And then under procurement phase, the tender award is a milestone. So we don't normally put other activities on because that just clutters it. It makes it too much. But we do put on tender award. Then we're going to put construction on because it's also level 1. Now note, site establishment is a level 2, and let's not put that on because I don't want to put too much on because just now there's so much on you can't actually, it's not really useful anymore. There's too much to see. So just put construction on, and then the next thing we're going to put on is actually just the handover, which is also a milestone, and then we're going to say, okay. And can you see what has happened? All the tasks, or it's actually their summary tasks, their heading, their WBS headings have come on. They're sort of shown in blue with the dates. So engineering and design runs from the 2nd of March to the 22nd of May. And then there's a little bit of a gap, and then procurement phase starts the 25th of May to the 3rd of July. Then there's quite a gap because I don't know if you remember, but there was a lag. before construction started, and then construction runs from the 20th of July till the end of the project, which is the 16th of October. And we've got two milestones which hang down below the timeline so that they stand out, and those are our milestones. And it's a very nice representation of a high-level overview of what the project's looking like. And I can assure you that this kind of thing, that you pop this into a presentation or attach it onto an email, is very useful to people who really haven't got the time to delve into the details of your project. Now,